Hello and welcome to TACOS Tuesday, episode 63. I'm Hamish Conway, and with me is Sebastian Hargraves. Welcome, Seb.
Thanks for having me again.
Excellent. And this session here is going to be interesting because it's answering the question, what to do sales are down? And as much as we want our sales to be going upwards and to the right all the time, that's not always the case. And this could be like at an account level. It could also just be on a SKU level. And what we're going to share with you is an internal flow that we work through to help diagnose what is actually the root cause of the problem of sales going down. So that's what we're going to dig into. But first, just a quick announcement. On the 12th of November in Melbourne, the 13th in Sydney, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., we've got our vendor mastermind meetups. So we're nearly full with those. There's only 2 or 3 seats left at each. If you're keen to get to that, make sure you register. Go to our website, gosellglobal.com, scroll down a bit, and you'll see the events there for Melbourne and Sydney to register for. They're great events, and they're starting to get quite popular now as people enjoy them and want to come back, and we only have kind of limited space, so make sure you make it to there. Right, so what we're going to do here, and for some of you, you will be listening to this on Spotify or Apple, and we are going to be talking through the flow. So if you can't see it, that is perfectly fine. It'll all make sense. But I will share my screen for those following along on YouTube, or actually on Spotify. You can also watch it as well. All right. So we've kind of taken a piece of things because we've got our sales down. If the answer was no, that heads a different path. So we're just looking at this path here on our sales down. So Seb, talk to me here as you and the ads team and the account directors work through this. Talk to me about the first thing that you look to do.
Yeah, and a few things. I think this is one of those episodes that's good to watch if you can, rather than listen to. It does help clear it in your mind. And the reason that this is even created in the first place is because, as many people will know, advertising is very complicated. So we have to make the decision making simple. So that's what the premise of this is like, okay, let me start at the start and get to the, like Hamish said, get to the root cause. So that's kind of where this need for this kind of map came from. And it's really broken into 2 main components, and that is the traffic side of your products or account, and then the conversion side of your products or your account.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. All right, so what's the first question that gets asked?
So the first question we always ask is the product out of stock or low in stock? And that's because you can end up down massive rabbit holes, and then you find out that it's like you've just got 10 units, or you've got no stock, and you're like, I wish I just checked that first. So that's always the first place to check, is make sure your stock is there, and it's quick. So it's a low effort, easy catch one.
And then if that's a no, it moves on to the next question.
Yep. So if it's a no, we move into the traffic side of the equation, which is sessions. And we ask, are sessions down? Sessions are just how many people visited a product page. And so we basically ask from there, if sessions are down, we want to understand, are sessions down because of the traffic side, which would be our ad impressions down, or if it's no, sessions are not down, then it's like, okay, well, sales might be down because our unit session percentage decreased. So here you've got a split path where it's like, okay, we're looking at the conversion side. If sessions are down, it could be on the overall unit session percentage is down, so we're just getting less there, or you've got that ad impression piece down to the next stage.
Okay, so let's kind of flow down through the ad impressions side of things. So sessions down, yes. Ad impressions down.
Yeah, so this is basically just asking, is it on the organic side that if sessions are down, or is it on the paid advertising side if sessions are down? So if your impressions are down on the ad side, you can go, and your sessions are down, you can be like, okay, well, it's the ads that are driving it potentially. And then the next question from there would be, why are my ad impressions down? And so we ask the question, has our CPC decreased?
Okay, yeah. Causing you to, like, have you gone and decreased, or some automation may have decreased the CPC.
That's right. Yeah. So we're basically then asking the question, like, was it us that did this, or was it something else that did this? So if we look at the CPC and say our CPC is down, there could have been some changes we made that affected it.
Okay. And so if CPC has decreased, and then that's a yes, what does it go to next?
Yeah, so the next stage here is, and there's obviously other episodes we've done on setting up what your targets are, what your target ACOS should be. The next question is to ask, because you might have taken your CPC down for good reason, right? You might have said, well, my CPC is down, but I did that for a reason. I did it because my target ACOS was outside the range I was happy to have. I wasn't making the margin that I wanted to. So the next stage there is to answer the question, am I on target or off target based on my goal?
And then if that was a yes, an option is to increase bids.
Yeah. So if you're below you're below your targets, as in you've got room to expand and grow, then you can just increase bids, and you know that your CPC might have come down a little bit too much from what you did last time. But if the answer is no, then you can't just use traffic to fix your problem, because you're like, okay, so this is where you've got two opposing forces. You've got the trade-off between where you're trying to hit your objective, but you're also trying to bring back your sales. And so here we kind of lean more into, okay, well, we need to do more with the traffic that we're getting in, which would be on the complete a listing review to improve conversion rate.
Sure. So, okay. So as we're going down this ads column, you could say, where we've got ad impressions down, no, or has CPC decreased, no. These all feed into asking the question, has your unit session percentage decreased, or your conversion rate for on-page total traffic? If that's a yes, that has decreased, then you go on to, well, is that then we're diagnosing, is it because of the ads conversion decreasing, or is it the organic side? Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah. Same principle that we did on the traffic side. We're just trying to find out where did the conversion rate decline from? Was it on the ads or on the organic side?
Okay. Just a kind of an interesting question here, because you could, well, I guess we're saying, look, sessions are down. So, there can be times when sessions are up and conversion decreases because of the amount of traffic you're putting to it. But in this case here, we're diagnosing sales are down, if sessions aren't down or ad impressions aren't down, we're going, well, let's keep on diagnosing where are the conversion issues. And
it's very unlikely that you'd have sessions, like if your sessions were up, your sales wouldn't be down, likely. Almost certainly your sessions wouldn't be down.
Okay. And then there's an interesting one. So have ad conversions dropped? And then if you go yes, then what? The next question is an interesting one.
Yeah, and I'll say here, this process map, I think it's going to continue to develop. This is kind of probably not where it's going to finish. These are just, as different circumstances come up, we kind of build on this. But yeah, the next question we ask is, has our average selling price increased? And the reason we ask it here is because a lot of the time when our conversion rate drops, it's because the price has changed the product. And you'll see here, I'm not talking about average order value. That's a different thing. This is average selling price. So, the price has literally changed.
Okay. And so let's say that has happened. Then talk to me about this calculation for where an ASP has increased.
Yeah, so this kind of came out of the principle that sometimes we're wanting to improve margins, and so we will increase our price. And then it was kind of like, okay, well, was the price increase a good thing or a bad thing? And to answer that question, we basically said, okay, well, let's calculate our revenue per session and work out, did we make more revenue per session with the increased price or less? And that then helps us determine whether it was a success. You do need to factor in the amount of revenue as well, like as in how much revenue. But if let's say all things being equal, the revenue's not that much different, and your revenue per session was much greater, then you can say that the price increase was worth it.
Yeah. So look, we won't continue down that path there too much, but it's such an interesting one, right? This balance of going, right, we've got where you want your margins to be, but what that means to your price, and then what that means in the overall market place, given the competitive set of the category you're in, and can even a small change make a big difference? It's such an interesting to test. So even up or down actually just came to mind, but certainly increasing it because of wanting to hit more, have better margins. There is that trade-off that you can often be making. But let's say that wasn't the case; it was a no. Following this path here, has the unit session percentage decreased? No. Had the ad conversion rate dropped? If that was a no, or the ASP increased? No. Then we move into another section here. So talk to me about that.
Yep. So this section is kind of identifying just the overall market conditions now. So we're
Yeah.
kind of just asking the question, well, is just traffic down in general across the whole niche? And there's a few ways that you can do that, but basically you want to answer that question. It's like, well, maybe the traffic's just down and I've got nothing to worry about. I don't
Yeah.
need to overreact.
Yeah. And that can happen like post big events or just some in between seasons, that there will often be just this natural decrease. So it is just, and there are ways that you can look at the overall category in terms of search term there. But again, yeah, if your conversion rates are staying solid, but your impressions or your sessions are down, then it could just be the overall niche. And is that, when do you think you see that the most?
Well, seasonality is a big piece of this. If you sell a weight loss product and it's like January is going to be super strong for you and you're going to see massive declines. So if you see declines and your sales dropping off from January, you should not be alarmed, because that is just going to happen. And you can't fight against that. I suppose that you kind of want to make sure you're not dropping more than the market, which is where this next question leads into, which is, are you losing market share?
Right.
Yeah.
Because, actually also at this time here, like around that seasonality, if you've been selling on Amazon for some period, you can look back on the prior year and see those trends as well. So that would be worthwhile. But okay, is total traffic down for the niche? No. Then it's another question.
Yeah, so you basically then are asking, well, have we lost market share? So there's a possibility that it's the same traffic that's there, you're just getting less of it that's available, and so your share has kind of dropped for that keyword. So that's probably more when you're in a stable kind of niche, less like not like the example I used where you're coming out of it, but you could still use it in that example coming out of a weight loss niche, because it's like, again, your sales are dropping, but you don't want them to be dropping quite as much as the other competition.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so as we're looking like the niche traffic isn't down, but we're losing some market share, then it's like, did we lose organic rank? What would be some factors that would lead to losing organic rank?
So if you ever lose organic rank, it means someone took it. That's basically how it works. It's like if you're in position 3 and you move down to position 5, someone jumped into position 4 and position 3. That's how you move. So generally when you lose rank, you lost it to someone, and that's generally based on their offering and things like that. So that then becomes a question on, can we get it back? And sometimes you can't, because they'll come in with a product that's a quarter of your price, and that's how they're gaining that rank. And so that's not how you're going to get the organic rank back. You can't compete with them on price, so you got to come up with smarter ways to compete.
Yeah. So as we look at this flow, where there's a advertising traffic side of things, well, there's the basics, like, do we have stock or is it running out? Then we've got the traffic column, we've got a conversion piece here, and then we're looking at is the seasonality, or is the niche declining? And then we're looking at how you're going against that competitive set if the traffic isn't down. And then, what can you do to improve that rank? And that rank will tie into some other things. If you have put your price up, that could impact it. If you have decreased the amount of ads because you've got a high threshold on your target ACOS that you want to hit from a profit point of view, these will all have the flow-on effects. But this is the logic behind understanding what could the causes be of sales slowing down. And what about I was just thinking around overreaction, or, what are some timelines or time frames that you want to look at? Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks or a month? Or at what point do you kind of start to go diagnosing these problems? And I know it may depend, but how do you normally view that kind of window of time there so people don't overreact is the question.
Yeah, I mean, your answer was right. It depends. But to be a bit more solid than that, it's based on the amount of data you're collecting. So if in a week you get 2,000 clicks, you're going to be able to make a much better judgment call. If you get 100 clicks in a week, you're going to have not enough data to make a decision on that. So it's really about the volume of data that's coming in. So if you're in a really high competitive niche, you've got a big catalog and you're driving a lot of traffic, you can do this. You could do this on a very short period of time. But yeah, if you're in a kind of a bit more of a sub niche kind of thing, and it's a bit of a low traffic period, you're probably going to want to look at like a month or a month and a half of data instead of that kind of weekly snapshot.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, I like the way of thinking, and hopefully that is logical for people to consider. So if you do see sales down on a particular ASIN or a group of ASINs or overall, this is where you'd go digging. But really, digging at an ASIN level is what's going to give you the most insight there, and where you can make those adjustments at the right level in the right way.
Yeah, and this is really good for just go through it. Go. My sales are down. Just I keep asking the question. It's like, okay, my session's down, and then it's like yes, no, and like follow the path. And very clear. You'll at the end of it, you'll have a much better idea on what's happening.
Yeah, that's right. And even like just there in terms of price increases, if you do make a price increase, then this can be an interesting review approach to go, did that work as well? So is that a reason there? So from a testing point of view, this can help you evaluate the impact of that. So good. All right. Well, any famous last words, Seb? Or shall we leave it at that today?
I would say, this is part of what we do now. I think in a year or two from now, this is something that'll look even more detailed and thought of more scenarios. So stay with us. We might do some updates on this as we go through on our podcast to kind of show you, some more ways to do it. And one other thing, this is for seller accounts here. So we may do another episode on a vendor setup, which will be slightly different approach.
Slightly different, but and then so the other thing in behind this is playbooks in terms of what to do as well, and some of those we might share with you as well. Anyway, well, look, thank you so much for joining in on episode 63. We do appreciate it, and if you have enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and follow and all of those good things. We do appreciate it. And as I mentioned at the top of the episode, we've got the Amazon vendor Mastermind meetups we're doing in Melbourne on the 12th of November, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in Sydney on the 13th of November, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. as well. So we'd love to see you there. Excellent. Thanks, Seb. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. All the best.